Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. After a sad week apart, we have returned and we are together again with some unbelievable moves in the market. I am very excited to say that we have absolutely crushed. For those of you that have been following the stream, you are the fortunate ones. We have absolutely nailed. Let's get the NVIDIA chart pulled up here. We have absolutely nailed this move. For those of you that haven't been watching, we talked about the breakout over $500 and why it's so meaningful. And then we set our targets, the first of which being about $530, the midpoint of this range, with our be all end all target, at least for the next 6 months, being $570 per share on NVIDIA. Remember, we were talking about this down here when we saw this sell off down to roughly about $400. It was a little bit of a scary time back in October, November. And that was the time to reload for those of you that missed the first trade alert that we gave on this breakout. Sorry, we have to go back even further. We're buying this on these dips below 140, 150, and we have basically captured this entire run up all the way to 535 a share. You can see the smiley, why not? Our first target was 500. We hit it. Our next target would be 570. I think we're going to hit it. And then our third target being 737 in the long term. Be very, very mindful that that is an in the long term target. For those of you trading options, I would not jump in and buy some $700 calls. That would not be a good decision for you. However, I will say that those of you that took the more ambitious trade, again, when we were trading down here back in October of 22, when we first gave this alert, we were buying this at 140, 150, 160. That was the move. That was the trade, and we have absolutely boomed from here. Again, we didn't expect to see the earnings as good as they were and have been, but hey, sometimes you just get lucky when you have the right trade and you're in the right position. It's possible to get lucky, and that's what we're seeing right here. Is we're hitting 522 off the high today for the week. To go to the daily again, same thing, new all-time high on strong volume. So this is breakout quality. Again, remember, we were watching that $500 price level. That was the area to beat. It hit, we crushed, and now we're on our way, on our path to freedom. Those options contracts that we traded, that were alerted in the Discord, I'll put the link at the bottom. You can create your free account here. It's 100% free. You don't ever have to pay anything. And you can get access to the free section of the Discord. For those of you that have followed that trade, we started buying those calls at $700 a contract. They're currently trading at about $27,000 a contract. So we are up 2,133% on those options. Phenomenal trade, one of the best of my entire life. It's been a blast following along that trade with y'all. And we have a few more that I think are going to be of similar quality, maybe not to that degree, but a few more. So as always with this stream, the goal is to break down the SPY, help you understand the trade both ways. And from there, we then go into a few other tickers I think are worth a watch. And then we will wrap our wonderful time up together with a fun game of Smash or Pass, where you give me the tickers you want to see. We break down the chart in a quick, 1 to 2 minutes and decide whether or not the opportunity is there to go long. That's it, and that's all. So before we get into it here, let's say what's up. What's up, Nikki? We got Snowflake, got Mike, Stickman. If you are from the Discord, drop your Discord username in the chat. I like to know who's here and say thank you for showing up. As always, we like to do some raffles, give away some stuff. If you put your name in there, you just might win. If you are new to the stream, you've never been with us before, please just type new in the chat. We have some free gifts for you. I like to encourage people to get access to everything they can, and we have a lot of it to give. So I want to make sure that everybody gets it. So let's just take a second, say what's up in the chat. If you're from the Discord, drop your username. If you are new, just type new in the chat. That's all you got to do is just say, hey, I'm new here. I've never been here before, and I'm happy I'm here. Because you are going to get a deep dive market knowledge in less than an hour that I don't think you can get anywhere else. Okay, what's up? We got Cools, we got John Pert. How you living? We got Nikki, the Stick Man. We got Snowflake first. You are first, baby. You're first in my heart too. We got the Bubble Bass, or is it Bubble Bass? I've never known. I've always wondered. Bebnet, what's up, baby? JD Pert. We got Tikak. Oh, and a congratulaciones to Bebnet with the win. Remember, we went through Tesla's stock price, and I wanted you guys to guess our close at the end of the month. And the close ended up being 240, or wait, no, we're right here. So the close ended up being, that was for December. So the close ended up being about 248.97. So you were 19 cents off BevNet for the win. What a prediction. I mean, to predict that price and be only 19 cents off is absolutely astounding to me. I'm very, very excited for you, my friend. We have some wonderful gifts coming your way. As a result of you being a winner, I will reach out to you. I'm going to get with Nikki because we got to put some stuff together for you. And we're going to get you a nice little package. I think you're going to very much enjoy what is coming your way, my friend. So we'll get on that. You can expect that in the next 2 weeks, depending on shipping and how long we get it to figure it out. But let's give a nice little round of applause. BevNet predicted the finishing price of Tesla for December within 19 cents. That is a champion's prediction. Let me put the golf clap up here so you can hear it. I'll put it by the mic as well so you can hear my golf clap. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Our winner of the contest. I'm thinking we're going to do one of these every month. I mean, shit, let's start right now. We'll do it again. So let's see those guesses. What is your guess for the closing price of Tesla for January? Drop it right here. Let's do it again. Let's keep this rolling every month. Why not? This is fun. I like to see who wins those guesses. What is your closing price? What is your guess down to the cents of where Tesla is going to close for the month of January? We've got our winner for December, and that is BevNet. We're looking for our next winner for January. You're going to win some awesome stuff. It'll be worth it. Drop your guess. We'll write them down, keep track of them, and then we'll announce the winner on our first stream in February for this one, just like we did as our first stream in January, which Happy New Year, by the way, with our winner, BevNet, for December's prediction of Tesla stock price. So, all right, we've got one guess. First guess in, Cools 262.50. Please, if you see a guess come up and they were before you, that's their guess. You got to go a little different. And we're going to do, I believe, Mike, didn't we do the closest without going over? I believe was our parameter. I'm not sure, but that's what we're going to do. We've got 247.77 courtesy of Tikak. Again, we are guessing the closing price on the monthly candle for Tesla for January of 2024. We're going to see who's got their charting mastery done and who's going to guess this correctly to win some stuff, some swag, some membership. Let's come on. So we got two guesses. Snowflake. Oh, we got the bear here. He's guessing 218.75. Snowflake sees downside coming. That's a little sad. I hope we don't see it, but hey, you never know. Smarter to guess low, I guess, if we're doing close without going over. So we got our three guesses. Fourth came in. John Purd, 255.25. Okay. So you're looking for a little bit of consolidation here. You're looking for a finish just above trend line. I like that guess. It's a good guess. And I can see it. Unless we break up and then we just boom, either or. Mike P, 299.29, just below that 300 mark. That puts us right about here. That would mean breakout. That would mean Tesla breakout to the upside to about here, which would be pretty cool to see. And looking at the chart as a whole, I very much so could see that breakout occurring. The question is how much is it going to move a month? All right, so we got 1, 2, 3. Come on, there's 30 people here. Let's see. And also, hit that like button. Hit that thumbs up on this video. Let YouTube know that we are awesome and you love us and that this stream is good. And then hit that subscribe button. You'll get a notification every time we go live so you don't miss any of this deep dive market analysis. And you get some options trades for the week as well as your watch list. All right, Derek came in to, what's up, babe? 226.82. Another bear. What's with you guys, man? Come on, man. Why you guys got to be guessing that bear case? Very interesting. So, hey, make sure you get your guesses in. We're going to start diving into the SPY. Just be mindful of the time here. We have absolutely crushed. Yeah, we'll just do closes. That's fine. Either over or under. Let's just do that. I agree. That makes more sense. So we've got our SPY chart here. Let's get down to the daily. Make sure you drop your guess. The closing price of Tesla. Strong move to the upside here on the SPY. We did talk about that move down. We are expecting it to come below 470. We were looking for potentially 462. We came as low as 466. And we had a very strong day to the upside here, topping off at about 474.5. It looks like we're approaching once again that 475.5 mark, which is a pretty critical price period or price point. Sorry. Where we really saw the market take this and then push it back down on the last time we got that run up. Again, approaching all-time highs once again at about 480, just below. We are reapproaching that area, which means we either double top and come down or we do find a new high. So as for you options traders, I think this is going to pose for a very interesting trade week. So here's what I'm looking at so far. Again, sell off in a very, very strong move today from as low as about 466.5. So we cleaned through this range. For anybody following the stream, we gave you an absolute banger. Once again, if you're following these price levels, you should be crushing it. We talked about the breakout over 470. The target was 473 and change. So if you've been following the stream, you already had this zone mapped out, and you could have taken that trade on the breakout and made a nice 30 to 50% on that options trade. Same day options would have gone up about 100%. And since we have broken above that, our next target would have been 475.25. So right now we are in no man's land, and you guys all know that I don't take trades in no man's lands, nor should anyone here. So what do we have to look forward to? Well, as far as price action is concerned, if we get a strong open tomorrow on the SPY and we push this 475.75, we are going to put this on the 30-minute chart. I would say you can even go as low as 15, but to be safe, I would do the 30-minute chart. So you can see right here, this was the confirmation that this was going to hold above that support there. Came up, tested right here on this little red little doji here. Came down, bumped 473.25. Then the next candle pushed back up, and then obviously we went into after hours. So that's how you can read confirmation on this 30-minute chart. We broke out. We don't buy here. We wait until we get that confirmation right here, and then we can be confident. So at open, I could expect kind of a neutral open, or in pre-market, we move up and we push against this 475.75 mark. So what we're going to be looking at here are a couple of scenarios, and I think the one that I think probably will be the most fitting and most likely to occur is this. I think that tomorrow, should we open either neutral or open up against resistance right here? Again, resistance about 475.25, right? If we open neutral, which is right here, or we open a little bit more strong than that in pre-market, we open up against 475.75. We want to wait for that confirmation that this is going to turn over to support, which means we get one candle that breaks up, and the next candle should, in theory, close above that mark after testing it. So it's like stepping on ice, right? You want to step on it, press on it, and hit it to make sure you're not going to fall through so you can walk across. Same thing here. It pops up, it comes back down and tests. That would be the buy right there when it does come down and test. Now, as far what will we be targeting? Well, I like this range right here, 477. So should we open strong and break out and then test 475 and 475.70? We are going to look at the 477 call. We need 2 or 3 weeks expiration on that. Let me get that pulled up so I can show you exactly which contracto I'm looking at. Sorry, it's making me do this login thing again. 1 second. All right, we're logged in. Let's get the SPY pulled up here. We have some great open positions on SPY right now. For those of you in the Discord, we got those March calls that we bought. We bought both the 440 and the 470. The 440 call, very, very happy with. We're doing very well here. This 440 call is up about 145%. Pretty good trade. Good position here. I think that we are definitely going to see a little bit more upside here in the long term. But this is a long-term position. Again, this doesn't expire until March 15th. So I'm going to be looking to close these on any hint of downside incoming because these are in the money. So we don't want to play around too much. So let's go into the SPY here. So we're going to look in our bullish scenario. I like the 22nd. Let's see, what day is that of the week? That's a Monday. Okay, so that means we could trade these into run up if for those of you that like swinging and holding. So we talked about the 477. Now, if you say to yourself, "Oh, these are too expensive. I can't do this." Very simple. You open a spread and you open it very simply, right? You have buy, call. Here's our date. Here's our strike. You just add it. Then you click sell, and you look at the strike directly above. I want to make sure that we have some volume there. It was okay. I don't know why open interest is 0. But we would go click sell, call, 238. It creates a spread that is only 47 cents. So you limit yourself on the upside, but you also limit the downside. And you significantly lower the cost of trading this contract so that you can still capture some of that upside. So for the sake of this drill, though, we're going to look at it. So this would be our 477 call. Let's go ahead and add that to that watch list. Again, expiring January 22nd. That gives us 2 weeks out. I don't think going much further out would be in our best interests. These are a little pricey, but again, this is for the more seasoned day traders that know really how to read the price action and watch for tested confirmation, yada yada. You guys know the drill. So that's our 477 call. That's our bullish scenario. To get back to the chart here. Sorry, I was coughing a little bit. I didn't cough into the mic. So that's the 477 call. Again, we're looking at our bullish scenario here. We would estimate that in pre-market, we're going to get a little push up. Again, we'd be watching this 475 and a 3/4, give or take. We want to see a push up. Let's get these out of here. We want to see a push up, and then we want to see a confirmation. We're going to be using the 30-minute chart. I would say 15-minute you could be okay with if you're a little more experienced. But for those that are just starting out, I would say go with the 30-minute chart. More time gives you a more accurate reading, so it is helpful. So again, as we push up in pre-market, I think is probably going to be the move here because we saw such strong price action today. I just have a feeling that we're going to see another strength starting early in the morning. So we want to see it push up, and then we want to see it test. That's our confirmation. That's our buy. And then we would be aiming for our target at about 477. Now, if we get another strong day, I would say that we have potential to see possibly a test of the all-time highs. Now, we are up quite a bit. You can see it's been a pretty vertical push lately. But price action this strong is usually good for the money, honestly. So that would be what we'd be trading on our bullish position. I think that's probably our most likely scenario given the price action today and over the last 2 or 3 days. But we're going to go in on a bear scenario as well because it's possible. I think it's less likely, but it is possible. So to dial in on our bear scenario here, this would be scenario number 2. We would see a very similar open, right, where we push up and we struggle right along this 475 and 3/4. The second we see that failed breakout, right? So the candle comes and closes below that 475 and 3/4. We would be looking to add the 473 put. So we're going to go back to our SPY options chain. We're going to go to puts. We're going to do the same expiration, and we're going to look at the 473 puts. Decent volume, low implied volatility. So that would be these right here. 473 put trading about 268. To open a spread, which again will lower your cost and your risk, you just click sell and then click the strike. Now on calls, it's the strike above. On puts, it's the strike below. So look at it like this: inward out. You sell the one that's further away. You buy the one that's closer to you. If you're bullish on that position, or you're long on that position, excuse me. So we would be buying the 473. We got that there. We would be selling the 472. We got that right here. Total cost of about $37, which makes this a little bit more accessible for those of you that are trading with a smaller account. That makes this possible. So that will lower your risk, but it also does limit you on the upside. But that's okay because you can then capture the profits from the trade. So that's the contract I would be watching for, this 473 put, dated 14 days from now. So looking into this, we're going to go back to the chart. Here's what I think will play out. Again, we push up, we try, and then we fail. Candle closes below this line, this 475 and 3/4. We are targeting right here for this to clean out this range and come down and test support right here. I would not hold past then unless we get a crazy sell-off, something like this, where we just get two fat candles that just sell all the way down. That's the only instance in which I would hold past this point. If we do not hold 473.40, this contract should continue to pay as we come back down and test. More than likely, we'll test around 471 and change. So your bearish targets would be for 474 and then 471 and a half. Again, that's only if we see strong downside through this area. Because again, look at this right here. This was back in the towards the end of December. We tested 475. So look, this is exactly what we're looking at. Boom. Here's your bearish scenario right here. Expect to see the exact same thing that we saw on this day. As far as the breakout, if you guys are like, hey, I don't understand what to look for the failed breakout, well, this gives you an exact replica, right? Price action was strong early in the day. It moved up. We kind of teetered around this price point. We were right around our critical pivot point, which is 475 and 3/4. We broke above for a second, but then what happened? The candle closed below 475 and 3/4. And then look what happened. Downside. And where did it go? Roughly 468 and change. So absolutely phenomenal price action there. And I think that it will play out very similarly to what we saw back here. And as you can see, it same thing right here occurred, right? It was trading well above that 475 and 3/4. Candle closed below 475 and 3/4. And look what happened. We came all the way down to 473 and a half. So again, that's the bearish play. That's the contract I would trade. And this is the price action that I would anticipate. That should set you up for the trade both ways so you know exactly what to do. Sound good? Any questions about that before we move on? Any questions about the SPY bullish bearish trades that we just outlined? Both scenarios. There's no way you lose money. Both of them are outlined. Oh, wait a second. Any questions about those SPY trades, those two SPY options trades we just went through? Any questions at all? There is no dumb question. The goal here is to train you to be mercenaries in the options market and make money every single day. Okay, I'm going to assume that there are no more questions. That is a good way to do it. Just hit the thumbs up. Let us know we're good, but don't hit it twice. I didn't realize I had it also playing in the background. My bad. So, all right, that's it on the SPY. Let's move on. So, a ticker that we talked about last 2 weeks ago, sorry, that was absolutely primed, and it really sucks that we missed the breakout back into this channel. We outlined this channel here for Adobe. That ticker is ADBE if you're following along on your charting platform or you just wanted to pull it up and look at it on your own. Remember, we talked about Adobe having these really nice, clean ranges here, and that we saw this really harsh sell-off, right, at the beginning of January. What we expected was that it would either hold up right here. We either expected this to function as support and this price to pick back up, or we talked about breaking through right here, that we would see a sell-off down to at least 570 or so. Now we went as low as 562. So it went just beyond those targets. We didn't get an active trade out here, unfortunately, because I was traveling with the kids, but we nailed it. So for those of you that have been following this analysis, you can see that Adobe really likes these trend channels here. And what we're seeing right now is a little bit under appreciation. So for those of you that met Shy, the new analyst that joined the team, phenomenal fundamentals. He's more of I would say, an investor and an evaluator of companies. Like, he's very, very good at dialing in on exactly what each company is worth and why it makes sense. And him and I have talked at length about Adobe being the best position in the space to really capitalize on the entire digital arts, graphic design kind of design as a small business must have in this day and age. So Adobe is very well positioned from a fundamental standpoint, and from a technical standpoint, we nailed it, right? We talked about this channel here. It looks like it priced a couple dollars out of the channel the last time too. So I guess maybe we should have saw that coming. I didn't, though. I just kind of estimated that the strength was there, so we wouldn't see that kind of a sell-off, but we did, and that's fine. Either way, the trade was validated on the breakout below 584, moved about $14 in the right direction, came back up, broke up, and is now moving another $10 or so in the right direction once again. So as it trades through this channel, we're not going to buy in purgatory. It's no man's land, but let's talk about what we can expect. Let's go to the weekly chart here for Adobe, and we'll also let Stocks Buddy do a little talking here. Turn that guy back on. Stocks Buddy's still a bear in the weekly, so it looks like went bearish at 633. It was a good call because it came down $100 from there. Stocks Buddy stop loss before this trend will turn over. That's why this tool is great. It shows you here's where the trend turns over and becomes bearish, or becomes bullish again. So it's currently bearish. Most recent signal turns bullish again if we can break out and confirm our breakout over 602 and change. So this is a wonderful tool. If you don't have access to it yet, you got to get it. It's phenomenal. So big volume here, not seeing much over the last 2 weeks. Let's go to the monthly chart to get a long-term view. Looks like monthly we're still bullish here above 322, almost 100% run from that alert from Stocks Buddy. God, I should have traded this. God, the bull signal at 34. If you'd used this back in 2013, come on. Multiple entries given. This thing just kept ripping. So Stocks Buddy's indicated support 530s. If we stay above there, it looks like the bullish trend will continue. Obviously, we have a pretty significant top here at 665, where I think we're going to see some headwinds there, and this one's going to struggle to move through that range. But I do like that it sold off enough through 2022 to provide some real value there. So let's keep an eye on this over 540. And I think this one will remain bullish. It's not one I'm holding a huge position in, but the chart looks interesting, and to say the least, I think we did nail the trend channel here. Looks like you just turned over bullish on the hourly too, which is good. Sitting right above that channel. Beautiful. So Adobe was really, really interesting. The next one on our list is UPST. We're still holding a position here. This was alerted about 25. I think it was alerted right around here, 25 to 27. Sold back off, came down to 20. I did continue to buy down in the mid 20s, low 20s. It came up, basically doubled, ran 100% from November through the end of December. Phenomenal. And then came back down and pushed off $32 off the low, which is down there. Going to the weekly chart, we are still bearish as well until we break above 47. And then looking at the monthly, we have the opposite point of view where we went bullish at 27. And we are holding above $20 for a bullish continuation trade in the long term. I think that this smaller consumer finance companies with rate cuts will perform well. We got significant volume last month through December on UPST, tons of buying. I think that one's going to continue there. That's one of my favorite picks for 2024. Should the trend continue? Again, should the trend continue, please keep that in mind. And start thinking of whatever tickers you want to cover and smash or pass. Remember, just type 1 per comment, but feel free to type 3 per person, and we'll go from there. The one other I wanted to go through that we were looking at on the masterclass Saturday for the lifetime members, for those of you that are there for the fundamentals masterclass, was PayCom, payment processing software into HR solutions. Huge volume coming down, trading off a high of 542, down very significantly to mid 150s. So this thing is incredibly oversold right now. Again, Stocks Buddy on the monthly saying don't touch it until we see over 212, and I would agree with that. I would say even to be more cautious than that, I would say that no, I agree, because I would say I would buy on this breakout over 20. Actually, I'm a little less cautious. over 206. So if we hold above 206, we see this nice little consolidation area where we really got some volume, strong volume here back in February of 2020. This came down during COVID as low as 169, which is, we came a little lower this time, which is something to be cautious of. But I will say that this seems to be a pretty significant demand. Oh, yeah, I could do that. This was an easy one. So basically what we look at here when we're using this range trading strategy, which I've explained before, but just to give you a brief recap, is we just want to see where do the buyers show up and where do the sellers show up, and where can we just use simply two horizontal lines. How can we use two horizontal lines to determine those liquidity zones to figure out exactly how we can trade this one effectively and efficiently? So this is very simple. We only have to find our floor and our ceiling, and then everything else just maps itself out from there. So like in this instance, right, we've identified a floor around 208 and our ceiling being around 276. So this is the range from 200 to 275, call it, right? We see this being a significant and impactful range, where at the bottom of this range sit the buyers, and then at the top of the range, we got the sellers. So the top of the range is the buyers, the bottom of the range is the sellers, right? So our liquidity zone is what exists in between, right? This is where they're fighting. This is the game of tug of war that's being played. In between these two zones is where you're going to see strong runs. You're going to see increased volume. You're going to see a number of things as people, both active traders, trade this, as well as the market decides if it's overvalued or undervalued, right? So when we see it come down as low as, 210, 211 off the bottom of this zone, what we know is that typically, historically, after seeing this data, we know that buyers like to come in this area and start buying again. People that are long-term believers in the company, this is where you're going to see really strong volume come in. And I would say that what tells me that there's still strength here is that even though we were trading significantly below this, we saw a disproportionate amount of buying occur, which means this thing had an over-exaggerated move to the downside, and the buyers quickly corrected it and got a really good deal in their opinion, right? So as the buyers pick up the bottom and the sellers sell off the top, we get our liquidity zone in the middle where the price is going to move more efficiently, or less of, it's going to move with an increased level of volatility. Yeah, so with an increased level of volatility between the buyers and sellers as they play that game of tug of war to determine whether or not this is really worth what the market's pricing it at. So down here at 210 or so, the buyers are saying, hey, that's too cheap. This company's worth more money, and the stock price raises because the demand increases, right? People want to buy things that they believe are at a discount. So they buy it down here at a discount. When we start to get up here at about 270s, sellers come in and say, no. That's too expensive. This thing is overpriced, and they start to push it back down. Now they failed here, and this thing ran to about 556, right? So if we want to take this a step further, we could say that our next liquidity zone, I would say, are bigger and next and larger would be 275 to 547. So let's say that this whole thing is a liquidity zone, right? That would move the buyers right here and the sellers up here. So as we climb this ladder, everybody moves up a rung, right? So that means now the sellers are saying, okay, I guess it is worth more than 275, but it's not worth 530. It's just not. And again, what do you see through here? Increased volatility in this, what we'd call, I guess, liquidity zone. Sellers up here, buyers down here. This is the ceiling. This is the floor. Everything that happens in between is going to be more pronounced. What we want to see is strong volume coming in off the bottom on the buy side and strong selling volume coming in off the top on the sell side. It's exactly what we've seen on this one between these ranges. So as we use these to trade, we're basically just joining the party with the buyers and the sellers, right? That means that we're not taking any sort of like long-term fundamental belief position. We're buying off the lows at 275, 280, and we're selling the highs 530 plus, right? And we can do the same thing. You can break this down as small or as wide as you'd like, depending on the amount of risk you take. If you want to take less risk, cool. Here's all you do. is you look at what would be kind of that second level shelf right here where sellers are stepping in to push the price down, right? So yeah, it went to 550 or so, but it also looks like sellers have been coming in at 370 and saying it's overpriced and pushing it back down. And here's what you can see there. It's exactly what happened, right? So where are we now? Well, we're trading off totally different lows. Looks like demand right here and right here have picked up, but where are the sellers showing up? Well, it looks like the same place, right? Again, everybody just climbs down a rung on the ladder. The buyers move down one, the sellers move down one. It's all we have to do. As I've said to you guys millions of times, to be very good at this, meaning to make consistent money week in, week out in the market by trading just a handful of stocks, all you have to do is be able to outline and draw. You just have to be able to look at this like a fourth grader and paint two horizontal lines and make sure they line up with the candles, right? That's how simple this is. Here's a lot of tops of candles, right? And a lot of bottoms. If I put the line here, I want as many touches as possible. And I would argue that this line is accurate. Why? Because we get touches off the tops of the buying and we get touches off the bottom of the selling, which means that this is the middle of the tug of war, right? This is where the buyers and sellers are pushing. Then if we go down one, the midline becomes right here. And again, back to that whole argument of like, what is a liquidity zone and why does it matter? It matters because it's the place where buyers and sellers are fighting and pushing back and forth, and you can capture some huge returns on that liquidity if you trade this positionally, meaning you're a buyer here and a seller here. You're not a long-term believer in the company, even if you are. You have to trade it this way. I'm going to buy here and sell here. So I'm going to pause there for a moment. Does that make sense? Did everyone follow that along? Mike, would you say that's an adequate explanation of the question that was asked in the Discord? My man, Rookie Trader. And does anybody else have any questions about that? Because I think that was probably one of the simpler explanations I've ever done for this. So I'm happy we did it. Smashed. Good. Any questions about this strategy at all? Anybody? Now's your time. Speak or forever hold your peace. Again, very simple strategy, guys. Anyone can do this. Absolutely anyone can do this. If you can't do this, you shouldn't be operating a computer or a phone. It's that simple. And that was my goal in putting the strategy together. I just wanted to be something super simple that everyone can be confident in using from beginner to advanced. And as you get advanced, you can integrate different strategies. You can make these levels a little more detailed. Beginners can keep this very broad. And again, StocksBuddy does pretty much all of this for you. As you can see, bear signals are given right where we said the sellers were. Bull signals are given when we have confirmation above that. So when they all move up a rung, that's when the signal shifts. It's the same idea. StocksBuddy just automates that for you. So that's kind of my point here is like you could do it yourself. Very simple, very straightforward, or you can use a tool like this to do it for you. Either or, you win either way as long as you do it correctly. I would say that for those of you that are newer or you're not as confident in your ability, I would use a tool like that to confirm your analysis. So that way you have like a second set of eyes keeping track of it for you. Duco, I think you will. I think that's probably the easiest way I've ever explained it. So let's do it. Smash or pass. Drop those tickers. Drop one per comment, but 3 per person. Feel free to drop 3 in there. We're going to go through and decide whether or not it's time. Thank you so much. Whether it's time to go long or not. If you like it, then leave it here so that we can go through it. I want everybody to put one out there, guys. This is your time right now to get in there. We are going to dive into the chart of whatever ticker you drop in the chat. This is your adventure to choose. I spilled this all over myself. That's unfortunate. All right, we got some here. Snowflake, SOFI going up. Let's take a little peeky poo here. Looks like we already had this one broken down with our pivot point, which is basically the point where we think we go from being bearish to bullish or bullish to bearish, right? It's where we flip over. We change trend and change direction. So a critical price point. It's kind of like this is your escape velocity. It needs to go beyond this point so that the price can continue to go up. If it doesn't, then the price is going to hit it and then wither away and die. So for SOFI in particular, this is one we've already outlined. We saw a pretty strong push. If you look at this, we're on the monthly chart here. That's the M you see right here. You saw SOFI push up from the low 70s to low 7s. We traded this one, made some good money, pushed up almost 30-40% there, hit its head right around 1030. That's our pivot point where this is going to turn into from a bearish to bullish. Stocks buddy said bullish at 471. So you took 100% return if you're using that tool. Phenomenal. We've got this support identified. Stocks buddy says $6.40. I would agree. Personally, for those still in the trade, I would look to stay over 866. I'm going to say for this one, because of our entry, we're going to still hold the smash on this one. Because we got in very early on this one, I'm going to still say it's a smash. I'm still holding this one. I'm going to make the chart a little bigger. Just realized it was still small. I'm going to still hold the smash here. Again, there's a pretty critical price point. If you have not entered this position from the alert, that is a problem. I would not be a buyer in this area right here in the high 8s. I would say that I would wait for the breakout over 1040 before you really join this party and make it something worth looking at. But it's going to smash for me for now because we've been in this one for a while and we were pretty green on that position. Moving on, I know my man was looking at this one. United Healthcare. So I remember talking about this when we were watching this like 230s level, that this was a pretty critical point where this thing either comes back down, finds support and booms, or it breaks down and we see new lows near 107. Clearly we nailed that range. Now we're looking at what's the ceiling here, right? So to implement that same range strategy, let's build a little range here, right? This is where the buyers and sellers are coming to party together. The buyers are coming in 470s. The sellers are selling at 550s, right? So there's like a $200 window, give or take there. With United going forward, I would say that right now, I don't like this divergence we're getting where price has escalated, but demand has gone down / momentum. That's all RSI. Oh, that's money flow. Let me get rid of this. I thought that was RSI. Excuse me. So as we can see here, I don't like that we're not seeing that convergence there. As you can see here, RSI was picking up, right? It was going up, upward trajectory while price was going up. And it looks like we hit oversold at about 70 and came down. Now, if we can hold here, RSI can stick around above 55 or so, and we get a strong push up in price to a new high, I would say that there's definitely some meat on the bone for United to see continuation. Stocks buddy gave the bull signal at 256. So if you took the stocks buddy signal, you're up 100%. That was in 2019 if you're using it back then, which you weren't because we weren't using it either. But nevertheless, going to the daily chart here, very similarly, we do see some decent volume coming in here, which is important. You always want to see that increase in volume because volume always precedes what? Let's do Q&A. What does volume precede? Come on, for those of you that are diehards here. Volume always precedes fill in the blank. The stick man, volume, a change in volume will always precede a change in price, right? So anytime we see that pickup in volume, we can estimate that there will be a change in direction. That does not mean up, does not mean down. It just means a change is coming in direction of price. So in this case, right, looking at United Healthcare here, we are trading through this range, buyers here, sellers here. Buyers are saying it's too cheap here. Sellers are saying it's too expensive here. We need to see somebody give up a little ground. Now, if that's the sellers, they give up that ground. Buyers are able to push with strength. then I think that we can realistically see a new high here, and this would be a new all-time high for United Healthcare. If we look at this range, is 555 to 469. That's like a $70 range. I'd say that we could estimate the new range to be probably, I would shoot for like 620. I would shrink it a little bit. I would say it's a little less than $100 a share. Price appreciation, I would say that if we can break above here with strong volume and this RSI doesn't go any lower than it has, because that is a concern. You don't want to see those dips, new lows in RSI. That's price divergence. It's RSI divergence, excuse me, which means that the price is escalating, but the momentum and demand is coming down. So it's an artificial bump in price. So look at it as an anomaly that shouldn't be taken as a signal that it's going to continue. But if it does pick back up, right, and we want to see it break to at least 65.70 in RSI. So we want to see RSI to about here. And we want to see price to about here. If we get that, I think we very well could see a push to 600. I would say it would be my first target. Second target, I'd shoot for about 621. So for those of you that are following this one, I would say that fortunately, I'm going to give this one a pass right now because I think this price right here is going to be too contentious. We got the divergence. I just still wouldn't want to take the risk right now on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and pass on this one. I know my man's not going to like it, but I just want to give you the God's honest truth, my man Tick. Next up, we got Caterpillar's great long-term hold. Strong chart, strong company. On the weekly chart here, I was just looking at this one. We see some pretty decent strength. We saw some decent volume coming in. RSI has been tightening up and coiling a little bit, which typically tells us that we're going to see a nice explosion to the upside if the price action's setting up as such. I'm going to turn this off here. We do have a bull signal on stocks, buddy. I do think it's very possible here that we get a new all-time high. So for those of you that are newer and you want an easier way to figure out what that is, I would say the Fibonacci retracements is a great way to do that. You find the high of a range, you find the relative low of a range, and you can see that this thing has interacted with these price levels relatively accurately, which means that would put the top at about 315 on this one. If it breaks that, then 400. I think realistically, we're going to really, really struggle once we hit, 315 or so. This one does have some trend strength, and it is kind of tightening through this range. If it does break out, you could see a strong move. But I would argue that there's not that much upside here. I'd say the RSI does look good, but there's not that much upside here. But I will say that because of this tight range and the fact that that RSI is coiling and we are getting some strength there, this one very well could see some upside. I don't know much about the company. I haven't looked at the earnings or dug deep into any of that stuff, so keep that in mind. But say this one's like a brunch smash. I'm not going to spend a whole evening with you, but I will sit down for a nice short little brunch, share a meal together. I think that this one has some upside, but the upside isn't crazy, and I would argue that there's some better opportunities in the market to keep an eye on. Moving on, JetBlue. Interesting bottom feeder setup. So I already had this one mapped out. I've looked at this quite a bit because I know a few of you have asked me about this. This one's got a very interesting chart. The volatility here is pretty crazy. I know that there's the merger talks going on. I know I can't dig deep into that, so that's definitely like a lead question. We are getting oversold from a chart perspective. I do like that bounce 504. Let's see what Stocks Buddy says here. Stocks Buddy became a bull, became a believer, 425. This thing nails trades. My God. We've got our ranges here. So 629, and then our targets would be 798, pretty much $8, and then 985. Those are the ranges we'd look for it to go through, as that's exactly what we've seen in the past. We are pushing off a new low and oversold here. I would argue we have a little bit of a double bottom setup forming here off these lows, and then let's look at where the RSI is. Based on how low it's gone, you could argue that if you look at this chart as a whole, you got a double bottom setup here with RSI convergence, meaning that's tipping back in the right direction to follow the trend or the reversal in the trend. So weirdly enough, I'm going to actually, I didn't think I'd say this, but This one's getting the smash, man. I think this chart actually has a prime opportunity for reversal here. I actually don't mind this at all. You've got a great consolidation base dating back to like 2008. Now, again, keep a good handle on the merger news and all that, because if that's driving price down and that releases, this thing could see upside. I have not dug deep into that merger and acquisition deal. So I would say that you need to keep a close eye on that before you listen to anything. We're talking price action here. From a price action standpoint, I'd say reversal looks like it's to be imminent. You've got great volume pickup there. You're tipping back to the same consolidation area you hit back 10 years ago. And you got this RSI convergence here. We're finding a new low in price, but the RSI isn't pushing very low relative to where it pushed in 07. So that would tell me that this could be a great bottom feeder opportunity where you could hold this stock long for a period of time and see some appreciation. PayPal, also a very, very, very interesting one here. Again, we've talked about this one quite a bit. We're going to go to the monthly here because this one deserves the look. Unreal, the price action we've seen on this. So remember, we indicated this as our descending resistance, which became support and has maintained support, bounced at about 47. I would argue that this little pickup right here is pretty crucial. But as I've told many of you before, this is what I want. I want that bullish confirmation above 68 bucks, and I'm a buyer and believer, and we are going to double our money. This thing's going to head back north of 100. I'm fairly confident in saying that. The chart and everything about the company and what they're doing in terms of processing payments and now getting into crypto, I think that the roadmap here is pretty clear that this company is positioned to do well in the current environment. And I think that we're going to see some upside after seeing just a boom and then an absolute bust. We have been feeding off the bottom here, incredibly oversold. And we've seen a couple of strong days recently. But once again, until we cross this threshold right here, until we cross this threshold at about 70 bucks, I don't care. I have no interest. I want to see PayPal north of $70. Once we do, I'll be a bull for days. I have some leap trades already lined up that we're going to take and make a killing on as this thing pushes back up and starts to clean some of this gap opportunity up here. Like, you got some huge gaps to fill here that offer some incredible opportunity for upside. I mean, just these couple alone on a retest is putting you north of 140, 150. And as you can see in the past, this thing loves to climb. So look, here's why. You say, well, why above 70 bucks? Just go through the historicals, right? PayPal bulls like this above 70. They don't like it below. So why would I waste my time scooping this up to try to save an extra dollar or two a share when I can wait until this trade hits full tilt and I can be a long and strong bull and hold the position for a period of time? It's a hell of a lot easier, I'll tell you that. And you're just taking a more confident trade, because the price action has told us that if we stay north of 70, it's nothing but upside. If we stay south of $70, we don't know what's going to happen, and we very well could see a push down to the mid-30s. We don't want to see that. So we don't want to take that risk. So what do? We wait until we get the buy that looks best, and that buy that looks best is the breakout and confirmation above 70. We've seen a few fake outs, but look at this thing. When it holds at $70, right, that is a beautiful, beautiful piece of consolidation right there. Look at all that. Boom, 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 boom. That is an area of strength and an area of confidence that I'm happy to buy at, but I'm not buying below it. So let's just sit down there and be bottom feeders and wait for the right opportunity to buy on that breakout, and we will make a killing. Moving on. Palantir, this one was a great trade. We alerted this in the low sevens. We doubled our money, tripled our money just about. Yep, tripled our money here on this trade in just a few short months. This was an excellent trade. We took over 500% on the options trade and over 200% on the equity trade. Phenomenal trade here. We are really playing with a point of contention that is super important in these two areas right here. This thing loves this range, right? So again, north of 21, upside. South of 21, we're going to be just playing again. Remember, as we just broke down, here's your buyers. And here are your sellers. You can see the same thing occurring here, right? So until the buyers are able to overwhelm the sellers and kick them out of their position so that they have to take a new one, which would likely be right about around 26 bucks, till the buyers can kick the sellers out and force them to move up, we are going to continue to stay in this range. Now, alternatively, be very mindful. The sellers can do the same. They can kick the buyers out and force them to come down lower. That's how this works, guys. This is tug of war. But what we want to see, being bullish on the company and just the future, that, in my opinion, this is going to be one of the better performing companies over the next 10 years just because of their access to data and governmental contracts. It's a no-brainer, right? Data is gold. Data is the new oil. So I want to see a push above that $21 price point. And then once we see that, we're going to be long and strong till about 26. So once the buyers kick out the sellers and they take their position around 21, then we will see another move through this range, right, to about 26. So this one's been an easy win. I would just be very mindful of that range. We got to hold that $17 range. If we don't, I would not play with fire because you're coming down to 14. That could be a pretty significant loss. Remember, this IPO'd at 9, which means there's no floor here, guys. Really could absolutely sink to nothingness. So be very mindful of that. This is the market we're talking about, and it's all nonsense at the end of the day. All right, let's take a look. Oh, I haven't looked at this one in a while. Moderna. How they doing? Whoa, this thing's been on a tear. So it's playing with that pivot point right now. So look, this thing has routinely boomed from 65 back to 100. Sorry I missed this trade, guys. I did not see that coming. So there's the pivot point. So I would say that right now it's a pretty crucial point. I think there's going to be some sell-off, but there's definitely opportunity for another $50 upside here. So I'll just tell you right now that I would smash. I would try to keep a tight pulse on the pace of this stock and how fast it's moving. Because remember, this one likes to move super quick to the upside, but it also loves to absolutely demolish you on the downside. So follow volume, because you can see very clearly here that you got the volume. Now, this is large-scale sell orders. This is probably people who own institutions and inside ownership selling off as this company and their net worth becomes 100x what it was before. Look for the same kind of buying in that area. You want to see that buying come in here and really pick up, setting that new floor at 74 bucks, ceiling 119. You want this to flip over where the buyers kick out the sellers here and move them up to about 175, and then you have a nice 60% upside on that one in particular. So yeah, that's that one. All right, I got to pound through a couple more because we're pushing up against the time here. Kirk, I already did NVIDIA, so we're going to take a quick look at Intel. If you missed NVIDIA, just go back to the beginning of the video. I went in depth exactly what I've been trading and waiting to happen. Intel was a hell of an opportunity. I remember we were talking about this early last year as being a strong buy from a company being in a strong cash position. But I will say right now, I'm a little hesitant for a double top here. Now, if we do get that little cup and handle approach and this thing sells off to 44 or so, it might be a buyer because you got a pretty significant range right here. Like here's the buyers, here are the sellers. Oh, it looks like it kind of already did. Well, we're in no man's land. So right now it's a pass until we come down to about 44, 42, and then buy at 42 and sell at 52. So I would say take a look, and then we got Zim. I'm going to go to Cat because you didn't do one yet. Nancy, what is this, dude? Is this a fund? Subversive Democratic Trading ETF. Interesting. That's a hilarious name. This guy's awesome. Subversive Democratic Trading ETF. Oh, wow. Interesting. So this is just following insider trades. I got to give it. And then Nancy, oh my God, I get it now. Oh my God. Oh, that's funny. That's getting a smash all day. This is super interesting. How could this portfolio ever not perform when you think about it? How could it ever not perform? Wow. Bravo. Usual whales. Bravo. I wonder if this is them or somebody else. Interesting. Huh. That's a good note to end on. So just to recap, we went through the SPY trade. We gave you the bull trade, the bear trade, gave you everything in between, everything you need to take this market and make it your you know what. Trades from both directions. We gave you the bullish setup and the bearish setup. We then went through a couple of tickers that I really, really like. One of which, like we went through NVIDIA, we went through Adobe, we went through a few of those. Watch the video again. Just go back. We'll obviously Mike will break it out so you can just click through and see each ticker. But we went through each of those charts, kind of walked you through what we're looking at, the trade ideas that we have for those. For those of you in the Discord, make sure you join us Friday. We're going to be live trading again. We were 14 for 14 on the trades. I got to watch one of those credit spreads. I got assigned. No good. But we had a few others. I mean, we're 13 weeks in a row with a positive return on those. I'm hoping we can turn it around after last week and beat up a little bit. But yeah, hit the thumbs up if you guys got some value here. We appreciate it. It just tells us we're doing a good job, and it helps us reach more people on the YouTube algo. I appreciate you. I love y'all. Stay blessed now. Any questions, hit me up on the Discord. I'm available, and I love you.